Welcome everybody, hopefully you guys are doing good as always. A couple weeks ago I made a video about how you can do a checkmate with just a knight and a king, and that video, it was more theoretical than practical. I didn't actually expect to ever find a game, especially not with grandmasters, where a checkmate happens with just a knight and a king, but here we are just a couple weeks later where Hikaru Nakamura manages to find a checkmate with just his knight and king. So let's go ahead and take a look. Notice that I am starting around 30 moves before the checkmate occurs, just to show you how the checkmate develops onto the board. So Hikaru has the black pieces. We see a trade of rooks, and very early on you see that a lot of pieces get traded off. And this is already just a drawn position. Obviously, this black pawn here that's on c2 is not threatening to promote at all because of the knight and the king combo watching over this c1 promotion square. And also both of these pawns here, although they do seem very dangerous, they're not threatening anything either, because although they are passed, although they are connected, they can't make any progress once the king finds this beautiful e5 square just guarding over both. And in this position, these pawns are basically useless, and this is a draw indeed. Now the king, notice here, is guarding this pawn, which means that this knight no longer has the job of guarding it, so the knight can start moving around, but even so, there's nothing that white can do here to make any progress and try to promote. There is a mistake, a blunder that black has obviously can make here, which is moving the knight to c7, for example. And the reason this is a blunder is because now that the knight is free from this g3 square guarding over the pawn, the knight can come to h5, where it's actually guarding over f6. And now this pawn is threatening to push and promote eventually on f8. And so this knight has a very important job of also watching over f6. So this knight here is not helping the pawn go ahead and push. And so Hikaru obviously cannot go here because, like I just showed, the pawn can push, and this does seem to be winning for white now. But there is still something that black can do, which is actually what happened in the game, which is knight to d6. Now you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, can't you do the same idea, f6, f7, and then f8? Well, no, because now black has this beautiful series of moves to actually capture both of these pawns just in time. And so let's go ahead and take a look at this move. You start by taking this pawn on e4, we see f7, and now c5 check, the king moves, and knight to d7, beautifully guarding over f8. And so both of these pawns are actually, like I just showed you, they're actually quite pointless, and there's no progress that white can make. In fact, in the game, because this is such a draw here, Wesley so realizes that, and in this position, he just gives away his knight because he realizes that there's no point in even continuing. It's just going to be a draw. But white does make a huge blunder here. In fact, this move by itself is not the blunder, but the move following this move is the blunder. I do want to point out here, though, that the whole reason that this knight and king combo can perform a checkmate is because this king was tied down in all of these three squares. And so once the king is tied down, notice that there's no way that this king can escape, and that is why the checkmate was possible. So here white definitely should go to g8 and just try to take the king away from this dangerous corner here, and now it's just not possible to do a checkmate anymore. But instead we see this pawn push, and that allows black to gain control of these three squares, and now this white king here is just a prisoner of black, and it can't escape. But this is still not losing. In fact, in this position, it is still draw if white plays 2 out of the 3 possible moves in the position, being h6 or h8. Both of these moves are a draw. There's nothing black can do for both of them or for either of them that lead to a win. But in the actual game, we saw h6, which is the only blunder, the only move that blunders here, and black is actually winning now. And there is a 3-move series that black can do here to deliver checkmate. And so I do encourage you to go ahead and try to find the move by yourself. But at this point, I will go ahead and share the move. So it is knight to e6. The king is forced to h8, knight to f8. Obviously, the king cannot move to h7 because of the knight, so pawn to h7 and knight to g6, checkmate. Notice you cannot go, obviously, immediately to g6 because this is stalemate, but you do this 3-move kind of wraparound and you deliver checkmate. So it's a beautiful checkmate that Hikaru manages to find. It's just so incredible, this end position you see with just a knight, a king, and the white pawn all helping here in this checkmate. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this incredibly rare and cool checkmate. Make sure you guys do subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.